stamp wildly, maybe it'll sync somehow with the music. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Oh, sorry, that was too loud. Ladies and gentlemen, I realized over the past few days, or past few viewings of previous episodes, that I have this button that's supposed to bring the volume of the music down so you can hear me, which works when I was working with the other microphone, but not with this one. That's another piece of information you didn't need to know. Welcome to the Bob Doyle Show, ladies and gentlemen. Please, by all means, subscribe and click the bell so that you can always be reminded of when this is happening. But I'll tell you right now, it's generally Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m. Pacific time, right here on various channels. Like, for example, right now, you might be watching on my Facebook timeline. You might be watching on the Bob Doyle Show page in Facebook. You might be watching on YouTube. You might be watching even on Periscope. If you're watching on Periscope, boys and girls, you've got to do me a favor and just leave me a comment, okay? Because first of all, I haven't done a real Periscope thing in a really long time. Good morning, Jason. Right there. First one in the queue, in the chat queue, the CC as we call it, the C squared. Jason's in the C squared room. And I've already forgotten what those two C's stand for. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Bob Doyle, your host for the extravaganza called The Bob Doyle Show. Shortly, we will be joined right here on the Purple Couch of Justice, the PCOJ, by the lovely and talented Tracey, who is actually making coffee at the moment. And I'm drinking coffee, you might be saying to yourself. And hopefully you would only be saying that if you were, in fact, drinking coffee. Hi, Xavier. Xavier has joined us. She's a regular from long ago, speaking of Periscope, with the Periscope days. So we just got back from Manchester, England, where we were at the Vision, Voice, and Visibility Summit. It was much more than a seminar. It was even much more than a summit. Folks, it was an extraordinary experience, and one of the most extraordinary, well, I shouldn't say, I'll speak for myself. One of the most extraordinary parts about the experience was, of course, the ability to broadcast the Bob Doyle Show live in front of a studio audience. No, not you guys. Not you guys. It looks something like this. Welcome to the Bob Doyle Show. As you can see, as you're watching live, and I hope that you are, please say hello, comment wherever you are, whether it's my Facebook timeline, whether it's the Facebook Bob Doyle Show page, or whether it's the YouTube channel. I'd love to hear from you. Let's see. All right. Now, see, guys, that's been a dream, to be able to test to see whether I could actually do the Bob Doyle Show live in front of a studio audience. The one big glitch that if you watch the broadcast, which I hope that you do, if you haven't seen it, because I know it wasn't a scheduled Bob Doyle Show, it was just a special. That's why it said special. And but you'll notice that whenever I play a sound like music or sound effects, clapping or whatever, you get this echo. So we got to work that out. If I'm going to take this off the road, of course. But you guys are being too quiet. Way too quiet. Jason and Xavier are the only one who says hello. So if you're watching this, you need to say hello and be a part of the extravaganza. We have so much to talk about. We got back last night after, I think we determined it was about 32 hours of travel. And we had, we'll talk about the various aspects of it because I know you can't wait to hear. It's kind of like watching a slideshow without the slides. So it's all the excitement of watching somebody's vacation slides without watching the vacation slides. You just get to hear us talk about them. So I'm finishing up this coffee to make room for the fresh coffee that is on its way. So again, I will welcome any of you who might be watching on Periscope. If you are, even if you don't know who I am and you don't know what I'm watching, I'd love it if you just type in a little hello, just because I just want to see what happens if someone watching on Periscope actually leaves a comment. It may or may not work. I don't know. Now, what I was hoping upon hope is that since, of course, we did broadcast this live at the summit, and there was a whole live audience, which you saw, and they were all, well, no, I shouldn't say all, I shouldn't speak for them all, but many of them were actually watching on their phones in there and hopefully subscribed and followed or did whatever they had to do so that they would be notified when we did this again. Now, of course, given the amount of time that we were traveling, and we got delayed yesterday by a large number of hours. Thank you. We've got all sorts of liquids coming in here right now. See, I've already got a fresh cup of coffee waiting for when I finish this cup of coffee right here. All right, well, sure, that's an applausible event. Yeah, so we got back, hours later than we expected, and of course, because of the time difference, which is 8 hours, it's just been really, really long days. There's Lana. Great to meet you at the summit. Thank you so much, Lana. See, I love it that we've got some new folks. Okay, these guys, they're applause happy. I have to say that once you've had that taste of the live audience, that was the first time. And you got to be me for a minute. Can you do that? I'd love to see that. I'd love to see video impersonations of me. Would I, though? Yes. Yes, I would. Longtime viewers, I'd love to see, and even new people, if you were going to imitate me, what would that look like? And then we just play them on the show. That's what we need. We need to have a Bob Doyle imitation impression contest. Like, when you want to do an impression of somebody, you pick out their little idiosyncrasies and then you exaggerate them so that people can go, oh, I know, that's Bob Doyle, that's what he does all the time. Now, if you were to do it visually, after seeing so many pictures and video of me this weekend on stage and seeing this event, I do this a lot on stage. My hands are always out. I seem to speak with my hands a great deal. And so I think that would be something, if somebody went up there and started just waving their hands around, that would be, oh, that's Bob Doyle. So I will say, okay, now I'm starting to see some feedback. So I just realized that this does show the number of viewers. So why is there only one viewer on the Bob Doyle show? That doesn't seem to make sense because that's normally where most people are. Now, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing that is absolutely true. I could be dreaming this whole thing. I could be dreaming it. For all I know, I'm still in a sleep-deprived, induced pseudo-coma. And I could be dreaming this because, it would be very easy for me to dream this whole thing, exactly how it looks. I've done enough times. And so, I may not need to worry about it. So the thing on Periscope, the feedback that I get from the I'm not saying this well, but you got to forgive me because I don't have a brain. I left it on row 6 of the plane, in the pocket in front of me, where you will see my very bruised knee. So there were 2 legs to this flight. It seemed like there should be something funny to say there. So am I suffering from a tad of jet lag? Well, right now I'm running on fumes and dreams and wishes. It was pretty solid sleep. I think I got to bed around, 10 o'clock. Out of Bounds has joined us in the room, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that is Walter Listenhand, and you guys can be seated. So, the coffee that Tracey just brought me is making designs on the top. Must be... Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready?
Sure.
Okay, hold on. I want to build the anticipation.
Oh my.
Folks, how can I build? I don't have anticipation building movement. I don't have ABM. Anticipation. Oh, well, now I see how this is going to go. Not have words. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome, all the way from 3 feet to my left, please welcome the amazing, the beautiful, talented, and opinionated. And I don't mean that, but that sounds terrible. That sounds like we had a thing before. That totally made that sound like that was some sort of passive aggressive introduction. It wasn't. It's been lovely this morning. She just made me breakfast. All right, Cher's already welcoming you in. Let's bring her in. It's Tracey.
Hello, good morning.
Okay, well, we have at least one person watching who was there at the Vision, Voice, and Visibility Summit, but we want more.
Oh, my phone's over there. I was going to do a watch party.
Do a watch party. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Tracey.
I assume you were talking to everyone about live streaming?
Probably.
Okay.
So now here she comes back again. Well, you guys are getting your exercise. Tracey, Kathy's joined us.
Hi, Kathy. Good morning.
Now, why is Cher saying 11:11? Is it 11:11 where you are? Because
Yes.
it's 8:00. It's 8:10 where I am.
Right, but she's in Michigan.
And they're
Eastern
2 hours
Standard.
and 1 minute off.
Wait, no.
Oh,
11
I'm
is
asking her to
3
do math.
hours.
3 hours and 1 minute off? Oh, don't. Why are we trying to add numbers right now?
I don't know.
That's a horrible
I
mistake.
cannot words. I cannot numbers.
All right, see, the show is getting so international, and now we've actually traveled. The first live broadcast of the Bob Doyle Show in front of a studio audience, and I had to go thousands and thousands of miles away to do it.
Yes.
They were the only ones that would accept me.
Right. A whole nother
Oh,
country.
I see. When Tracey came on, it was 11:11. Well, that seems appropriate
Oh, that is awesome.
because she's an 11:11
I'm a numerology girl.
numerology girl. A numerology girl.
Yeah,
She's
222
walking
is
down
my
the street,
number.
counting people she meets. A numerology girl. Numerology girl. Ba-da, numerology.
That's good.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, the Bob Doyle Show, where you're going to want to click and subscribe.
Uh-huh.
In that odor. Speaking of odor,
Oh.
so when we walked into the house last night,
Oh, my.
now we set this up poorly too. Well, okay, so we walked into the house last night, and so if you ever gone away on a trip for a while, and then you come back into your house, and then there's that smell. It's the smell of your home, right? It's that unique, like,
You
oh yeah,
smell.
it's the you smell. And then if you have multiple people in your house, that smell that you smell,
Collaborative you smell.
the collaborative you, the
That
smell,
lives
the
in the home.
CYS is what they call it in the scientific communities,
yeah.
the collaborative you smell. And so I know my personal smell because I've lived by myself, in several places over the years. And when I come back from anywhere, there's that smell that's uniquely me, and it's not the place, because when I walked in the house, I smelled the same smell that I smelled in all the other places. So that means that I know like what I smell like. But
And
after,
it's not bad.
yeah, it's just well, thank you. I'm glad to hear that.
I'm just saying.
But it's definitely, it just reminds me that I do have. Everyone has.
Everyone does. You go into someone's home
Everyone
and you just
has
have
a
that
smell.
It's like
Everyone has that.
sometimes it's not so great, but oftentimes, you just it's like, I don't know. It can be very comforting, especially if it's, your mom's house or something.
That's right. It could bring you back. I remember the first time I noticed that really was my college roommate visiting his apartment, like after college, and we would go over and visit, and I go, "That's the Kevin smell."
I'm sure Kevin loves that.
Well, I'm just saying that's when I first noticed that whole thing about like we have individual smells, and so
Yes.
but then I realized, does that, like, when I walk into a room, is that like people smell that Bob Doyle smell? Let's ask those of you who have walked into a room with me before.
Have you noticed the Bob
Have you
Doyle
noticed
smell?
the BSM,
Yeah.
BDS? Wait, the
No,
BDS,
just be
the
careful
BDS.
with
Bob,
those.
it's the
Just-
Bob Doyle smell. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-dum. I am musical today.
Oh my.
It's I'm still working with these
he's
2
had
cups
so
of.
much caffeine at this point just to stay awake because we're so not awake. Pretty much.
So not awake. See,
So not awake. Watch this with friends. Yes, get started.
That's right, but not enemies. What if they had that option? Watch this with enemies. I'm shining a little bit here. The gain on my microphone is
Yeah,
too high.
we didn't go into makeup this morning.
Makeup. I'll share this. The Albert Finney Scrooge, the musical version of Scrooge. Did you ever see that one?
Mm-mm.
I like life. Life likes me. When I was a kid, I first saw that for the first time, and they made Albert Finney, the actor, to look old as the elderly Ebenezer Scrooge. And I remember my mom saying at that time, I don't know how we got into the conversation, but she said something like, "Well, he's just got a lot of makeup on, to make him look old." Well, at that time in my life, I had no idea what makeup, like movie makeup was. The only makeup I knew was whatever makeup my mom put on, and for that, all I knew was like that pad of, I don't know, what is it? The powder, is it foundation or base or whatever it is that you just put on that big circular pad and you just do like that. And I just thought, oh, okay, so if you want to look old, you just put a bunch of that on.
Oh,
Seriously.
that's great. I'm sure your moms are gonna love that.
That's just, no, well, that doesn't have any, no. Oh, not like my mom. My mom was young then. I'm just saying she told me that Albert Finney looked old because he had a lot of makeup on.
Okay.
So I thought, so if you just keep piling that on, that makes you look old. Anyway, it was a few years. It's the kid processing.
Right.
You hear a term like makeup, you have no other context. You don't know what.
I get it.
Yeah. Well, I'm waiting for everyone. But there's Gail, ladies and gentlemen. Gail Edwards, who was at the Vision, Voice, and Visibility Summit. An amazing speaker, one of many. She brought a tear to my eye. right? She was working with that one woman in the audience, and
Powerful.
she was really great.
Amazing.
I wish everybody. I wish I could have pulled it together where I could have had like some of the people from the summit be guests in the show today. Like bring them in.
We'll do that.
We could have done it. We could have. Some of these people absolutely will be guests on the No More Secrets podcast.
Absolutely.
And maybe even in here because they're such. I mean, look, I've done a lot of events and met a lot of people and been to a lot of extraordinary events with a lot of extraordinary people. Mm-hmm. But I will say, and I'm not getting paid for this, unfortunately. I should though, Sammy.
But
this was such a
heart.
Such an amazing group of people.
Yeah.
And look,
Heart
they were
centered.
that was day 3, right, when I did the show live. And the energy and the enthusiasm, I mean, it was just great. So, and we know we made some lifelong friends.
Mm-hmm. Gail.
So, with Gail being just one of the many.
Yes.
And so we're looking forward to introducing them to you.
And lots of things spawned from just the conversations at the event. Entrepreneur Sushi is going to be a sushi club. I have to look at the exact. But
now, see, she says she throws that Rockin' Raven out of the past.
Morning.
It's a blast. She got here fast. How do I mask the fact that I don't have words right now?
That. Anyway, lots of
Lisbeth.
amazing content and friendships and global business ideas that are going to help change the world.
And I did play the ukulele on stage twice.
Yeah.
But I did sing, but I didn't sing a song.
You really did it just to like settle the crowd down and get everyone's attention, and it was quite entertaining.
I was going to talk about that. So the fact of the matter is, I emceed this event, 3 days, 3 long days, but I've never emceed anything before. I really honestly don't know if Sammy knew that when she asked me to do it. I really don't know if she knew or not. But
virgin emceeing.
Hey, that's not that kind of show.
Oh, right.
I can't remember where I was going to go with that.
Sorry, I derailed you with that.
No, I think it was just my brain not working. Oh, wait, I think I had it. I have notes.
Because we're tired. Normally we just wing things, and now nothing's winging.
It was the whole conversation. Are we actually going to do a show today after this? Because it
honestly,
could be really.
I wasn't even sure what day it was.
You need to cut a little closer to me because you're just like sneaking in. It's like you're an afterthought. Oh, maybe I can move this up a little bit. Here. Yeah, that's better. Let's do the whole show like that.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Did a great job from my first. Oh, thank you, Gail. Yeah, something about the first time, but I can't remember what. Like I wasn't. The point of the story wasn't that it was the first time, and I was, I even hesitated saying that. Does anyone need to know that was either there or whatever that it was my first time? No, but I was setting up the context for a story that I've forgotten, and I'm now spending 2 minutes. It wasn't about winging it either.
Because we were talking about how he has wings because he was winging it, but it was just. He was amazing. I have to be completely honest. Not that I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, normally she's a liar all the time, so this
normally
is a real
I'm opinionated,
stretch.
And he knows for a fact, as he started off this whole entire conversation about being opinionated, that I definitely have an opinion.
I really want to clarify that.
Not in a bad way.
There's 2 people. Yeah, just about things in the world. Like she'll look at something and go, you know what they should do? Or why do they do? It's just looking at the world, and she does it in
not okay.
Yeah, it could be. Is it always that?
Generally.
Well,
not in a bad way. Just like it seems so obvious. Common sense is not common. That whatever it might be, and I really am so tired, I cannot think of a good example. But just whatever it might be, it seems so clearly obvious that things should be this way. It's a should. It's a should. Oh, it's a should.
Yeah, well, but see, that gives but it would, if you had that podcast, then it would be an opportunity for you to go ahead and show on people.
Tell them the name of the podcast you want me to do.
Thank you. Rockin' Raven says you actually MC on the air all the time.
It's true.
And I guess that's true. And so that's like I'm the master of ceremonies of the Bob Doyle Show.
Yes.
And I have to be able to talk about nothing for 30 minutes.
Or an hour.
And then the other part of that was the whole awards presentation. Now, look,
that was really great.
If you're at all curious about what this event looked like or sounded like, holy moly, you haven't looked.
I still have so much more to do. Because we got stuck in the airport and there were no outlets in the entire area of where we were.
This was in Frankfurt.
I'm telling you, it was Not okay. That whole waiting area was not okay.
The Frankfurt airport is generally, I've been through it a handful of times. Upstairs is very
glorious.
nice.
It's like walking through a high-end mall.
Was that the Frankfurt one?
Both of them.
Okay. So yeah, very nice. But this time we got put in a picture of the audience in their own. I do that all the time. I do that with every one of you viewers. It's the only way I get through the show. You didn't know that?
Yeah.
No, yeah, I don't need that. And that was the other thing.
What's that?
That oddly, even though I'd never done any of this in that capacity before, I had no nerves about any of this. Like there was not one time. Yeah. The one time I got anxious. Well, I shouldn't say the one time. Here's where I got anxious over the weekend. When things started to run late out of my control, because as the master of ceremonies, I want to keep things.
He's also a time freak.
And a time freak.
In a good way.
Is there a good way to be a freak about something? Sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Because it's consideration, and usually it's like if you.
Kay, she was at the Vision, Voice, and Visibility Seminar, and an award winner. I presented an award. Well, I presented someone who presented an award to Kay. So congratulations to her. Where is everybody else? Kay, do a watch party. You guys, Gail, you guys bring in the troops. Somebody go share to the I didn't want to go to the so this group has a web page or a Facebook page, but I didn't want to go in there and like post the URL and say and be all like I felt like addy, like advertising-y to these group of friends. I just thought they might be interested to join an actual Bob Doyle show live in progress to see that it really isn't any different than what I did there on the stage, just as unrehearsed and poorly thought out. No, not really.
We've known.
Hi from Kosovo. Now, see, we're
global.
So we're so global. Okay, you're in Spain.
That's great.
Wow.
I love it.
I think I am still drinking out of 2 mugs.
You are. It's fascinating.
Now, see, I have these notes.
Yeah.
This one says 3 hours before. What does that mean?
You wrote it.
Yeah, I know. That's the one and I just wrote it a few minutes ago. Okay. So anyway, you were talking about the...
Well, we were talking about opinionation.
Opinionation?
I just made up a word. Is that a word?
Maybe that could be the name of your show.
That's... Dun, dun, dun. I like it.
I like the other one too, but I like both of them now.
I'm Tracey Samlow and I had an opinion about that.
Well, it's not called I'm Tracey Samlow, but I have an opinion on that with Tracey Samlow.
Is that what it is? Okay.
But opinionation is good too.
I like opinionation.
But opinionation, that almost has to be a live show, right? Because you're bringing the nation in. So you would state your opinion and then bring it in, and it would be opinionation.
And it's my opinion with the idea that I don't know much. Like I don't watch TV. I'm not politically inclined. I really am just more
opinions,
light and love and peace. But there's just common sense things that make me fascinating.
Right. Yeah. Maybe it should be like the rule of the show is you cannot contribute your opinion unless you truly have none of the facts. And it's all just based on complete supposition, prejudice, and whatever else. Like it's a show that people who know what's going on would be furious at. They don't even know what they're talking about. So maybe we could just bring in
but I'm happy to say that. I'm just happy to say, take it from 100,000-foot overview. This looks ridiculous.
100,000 feet. That's a long way up.
Right, because most people are so into the details that they get. That's where their anger comes from. It's like, well, you don't know this or that or
the other.
And then that's honest. I don't.
That's right, but I still feel this way, and I've got a microphone.
But here's a perfect example. Like, where we were in the Frankfurt airport, it is not okay that there's no outlets. I would have posted all of the pictures and video and stuff from the weekend. We were there for hours. But I couldn't because I had no power, and I had a phone that was dying, and so I had the little.
And you could hear it. It was like, I'm dying. It's just weird. Android phones do that. They beg for help.
Right. But we met some really amazing people and made some great friendships.
At that terminal where we would have been sitting there for 3 hours, just waiting there. Well, there was another family there. It was
Kelsey and Anthony.
husband and wife and their 2 little girls. One of them,
Dorms.
Victoria was what, 4?
No, she's 5.
5, sorry.
In kindergarten. Oh,
Yeah.
I heard she made me a picture.
Oh, that would have been nice to have. Anyway, the point is that we hung out with them and played with Victoria for most of the time with Snapchat filters and stuff like this. And Tracey, we can't.
Kelsey says it's okay, I will post.
We have so much video of this girl and Tracey with Snapchat filters. It is so funny. So it really helped pass the time, and it gave them a break because she was,
well, because
they've been traveling
with
international.
Little children, you understand if if you've ever traveled with little children.
And their story was far more harrowing than ours. The
heavens.
stuff they had to go through was just horrific. The fact that they even had a smile on their face in any way, shape, or form is amazing. And that these kids weren't like, puddles of meltdown.
Yeah,
it
was so good.
So it was a divine thing, and
yes.
And I feel like we truly made some friends that we'll stay in contact with.
And there's Ben and his son, and also
that's right.
They were amazing as well.
That's right. So
both of them from Hawaii, which I found interesting, but
Ben was from Hawaii too.
Mm-hmm.
That is interesting, especially considering right now we're in the process of putting together a Hawaiian retreat.
Yes, more details later.
But not that much later. We're pretty close to having that nailed down.
Yeah.
And that would be in May?
We're looking
or March?
May.
May.
Like first week of May. Maui is what we are looking at right now.
Okay, even though there's still coffee in that cup, I'm moving on because it's lukewarm.
Well, I'm going to look over here so you stop because you keep grabbing that one for whatever reason.
Well, because there was still a little bit more in it.
Especially made that one.
I know.
It's made with love.
That's what that flavor is.
Yeah. That's it. This is made with emergency because everyone on the plane was coughing, hacking, and sneezing.
So, oh look, Lisbeth's son is flying to Manchester this afternoon. Well, he can pass along our regards.
Manchester, wait.
We love Manchester. That's one of our souvenirs.
Oh, this is another conversation. Can we talk about that?
No, not yet. But hold on. You touched on, what did you just say? Oh, yeah, the coughing. Well, let's talk about that. So just as a preamble, and I don't know why I feel the need to say this, but I listen to a lot of podcasts, as you may or may not know, and there's a podcast called The Big Ones, which I totally hope that you go check out, but you probably won't right now. But that's okay.
Don't do it
because
right now.
one day these two gals will be guests on this show. One day soon. But one of the things they were talking about the other day was this whole topic of conversation around wearing those masks on airplanes and people being sick. The conversation was, should you go to work when you're sick? Should you do whatever when you're sick? And we have this in our society or whatever, this idea that just go, don't be a wimp, push through. Right, but the reality is you're being completely selfish and inconsiderate because germs spread, etc.
Everyone else sick.
Right. And they were talking about the plane thing, and I've noticed people coughing on planes, but somehow this flight back from Manchester, or from Frankfurt, which was like 10.5 hours or so, it was a symphony of sneezing and coughing.
Legitimately had a musical tone to it. It was, ha-choo, ha-choo. I mean, it was
complete with...
Like, I commented to the flight attendants that it was musical, and everybody laughed because it literally, the entire plane sounded like it was in harmony.
And I don't wear those masks because they seem silly or whatever. Silly looking, not silly in principle, but just it's wiring. It's just wiring, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's true.
But what was it? Oh, so I was thinking yesterday, it's kind of like, these are plane thoughts. These are things you think on a plane. When all of this is going on, it's basically like you've got cold and whatever, bronchitis, whatever it is that's wrong with these people. They've got some sort of germ or a virus or something going on in them. You may as well just dump that germ in a spray bottle.
Oh, there we go.
Just like this one.
Yeah.
And just go into the plane and go up into people's faces and go. Same thing, only no sound. So we can sleep through your germ spreading. I mean, when you cough, when you cough.
Oh my God, I have so many people on here. Kurt, oh my
Look
gosh,
at all these
I haven't
people
talked to Kurt
this is the viewers for your watch party, right? Awesome.
Yeah. This is great.
Okay, one more time, I'm going to put out the call to Periscope viewers if they are out. You don't have Periscope on your phone, do you?
Tracy, Tony. Oh my gosh, I was just like waving, but Cindy, Andrew.
We got a whole romper room thing going right now.
I'm so Ellen, Mary. Oh my gosh, Michelle.
So Cher wraps her head in a scarf. I'm sure that doesn't look at all suspicious. Like just the eyes coming through or whatever. The other time I would get a little terse as MC during this event was trying to calm people down after a break.
Absolutely, because everybody's excited and they're in conversation and they're, making connections, and so it's sometimes difficult to break away. I'm guilty of it. I
Yeah,
am
me
guilty.
too. We all have been the person who feels like their
But when you're
conversation.
on stage as the MC, trying to coerce people together, it's frustrating.
And in those moments, 5 seconds seems like a minute. Like when you're trying to get people corralled, okay, let's come back and have a seat, and they're still just blah, 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 blah. It really didn't take that long to get people in their seat. I mean,
Right.
less than a minute every time.
Right.
I mean, if it had been a minute, that would have been insane. But I'm like, because I want to keep it on time, I'm like, why aren't they instantly being quiet and sitting down? Completely unrealistic on my part. Like, it does take a minute. You're not just going to, because Bob Doyle is up on stage, go, ah! Although, oh, that'd be so cool. If the moment my foot hit the stage, it just got silent. I'm cogitating an idea right now. Like, how can I gamify this?
So Miami 2020 is the next division, Voice and Visibility.
Yes, and we have
December 5th through the 8th.
We have a gentleman-woman agreement that I will MC that one as well. So
yes. So by then,
thank you.
He'll have this nice thing, something that he stands on the stage and everyone's instantly quiet.
Yeah, got a lot of speaking coming up this year. We are out there. We are out there. And I have to thank Tracey for coming into my life and getting me out in the world again and speaking on stages and stuff. Because I realized, especially after this one, like that's the opportunities for meeting great people and building relationships and business and the whole thing.
And hugs.
And so many hugs.
The best.
It was a definite huggy crowd, and so she was right in her element.
I was so happy. It was just an amazing group of human beings. Sammy, again, kudos and thank you for being you.
Yeah, we need to tag her, get her in here.
Creating such an incredible organization, and so happy to be a part of it. And her one drop. So I wanted to talk about this because it's a movement that she started that I'm full in support of and want to help with. It's a movement, okay? And the idea of this is that individually we are one drop. Together we are the ocean. And so it's, anytime you see anyone like this or wearing one of these, it's a reminder of that, and that, of course, you can
hug them,
trust and love and hug them. And there's a lot more to it.
And her mom makes these.
Sammy's mom
each one individually. I don't know if you can tell, like, sort of the translucent quality. They're really beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
So what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so getting so one of the participants there, Judith Quinn. Let's hear it for her, ladies and gentlemen.
Sound healing. Oh, powerful.
Who was a multi-award winner at the
I don't even know how many. She had to have gotten another suitcase, I think.
Well, that's the other thing.
Yeah, right.
So this is, well, I don't know. I guess I don't know where she's from.
I don't.
But the point is, we fly in all over the place, from all over the place, and Sammy gave these awards, and sort of the runner-up award was this big sign.
In a frame, glass frame.
And then the trophies for the winners, which are these beautiful,
gorgeous
glass, big, like
awards.
Awards. Have you ever seen an award? Too bad we don't have
what we're talking about.
I'd show you mine, but I didn't win one.
Oh, poor baby.
Because I'm not actually part of there. But maybe I am. I have no idea. The point is, she won 3 of these things. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if you don't have packing space, what do? I don't know the answer to that.
We are a grain of sand. I like that.
Okay, somebody called me and screwed up my screen, and now I can't see. Okay. Anyway, Judith.
Oh, the bathroom.
She came up and gave me a good tip that maybe I will try next time.
What's that?
And that is you make the arrangement with the audience ahead of time. Mm-hmm. That when you hear me hum, if you hear me hum, then you hum. That's basically it.
That's a nice idea.
And then if you hear someone else humming, so I get up on the stage and just start going.
That's a great idea.
And then someone hears it, and then they have to stop talking, and then of course the whole room has this vibe going and all of that. So that I may try that next time. I didn't implement it this time because I wanted to see. This is all coming back around to the ukulele because that was how I decided I would bring people back.
Oh yes.
And I didn't bring my ukulele. Sammy's husband Greg had a ukulele that he bought. It was a little one, and it's not really the right size for me. And I'm a real what's the word I'm looking for? Snob, a ukulele snob. So I couldn't play a lot of the things I normally play on it. So I just did some sort of bluesy riff thing like, bow, we're back in the room, bow, bow, and you're still talking, bow, bow,
Yes.
sit in your seat
And
and
it
stop
rhymes.
all that walking. Yeah, that kind of thing, right? Even then, it still took a little longer than I was comfortable with for people to settle down. I was like, didn't you hear me singing right now? Because I'm not comfortable doing this.
I have video.
But that, you do?
I do.
Well, I wish we would have had that ready.
Are you? We've
I don't
had
know.
like no sleep.
Well, no, I got luxurious sleep last night. But I mean, we're so deprived. I mean, it was like 32 plus hours I think I was awake.
Absolutely.
And I have no
Might have been
idea.
more than that.
And we got home and I set up the whole studio.
Right.
Did we eat something? Well, I had ice cream after you left.
You did, yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, it's just running on these weird sort of jet laggy fumes. Like I could crash and burn at any moment, I guess.
Thankfully, we didn't do that with the plane.
God, what a dark turn that took.
We're talking about crashing
Hey, look,
and
I want
burning.
to, and so I'm sitting here, and
yes.
these are right in front of me.
Not much share.
Now these are little ceramic like Holland shoes.
Yes, from Holland.
Because there were two
the
people.
Netherlands.
There were two people there.
Not Holland. Well, it's
I had so much assistance. One of the things that made this great was that I had Tracey there to help support me in various ways, running around, bringing me coffee, being Tracey. But they had the event coordinator whose name is Asha, and I realized I don't know her last name. But Asha was like one of another. No, that's Yosei.
Oh, right.
That's who gave us these. So we'll go to that. Yosei Peterson.
I don't remember last names. I'm terrible.
I'm just not sure I ever knew it. But although I think we got hooked up on Facebook. Anyway, I'm just. But this was a gift from her that she gives special people that she works with, and Tracey and I each got a pair. So that was very nice. So we want to thank Yosei. But I mean, she helped me keep on time, and she was always there saying anything you need. There was a point when my back was hurting, and she gave me like this healing. I mean, it was just really amazing. And then Asha was the event coordinator, and that was just like making sure everything worked. And she was like, what was great about the three of us was that we're all on the same page about time, right? So we were all, all committed to keeping things on time to the extent that was at all possible. So the moment I met Asha and I knew she was the event coordinator, I said, "Oh, well, you're going to be my new best friend." And she's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "I'm NC." And by the end, I know we were.
It was just an amazing event, you guys.
What's funny about Asha is she was like, and you and I, we got some nice comments about the Bob and Tracy-ness of things. And she was like, "Oh, you two are so da-da-da." But there was a part of it where she's like, "You two." That sort of, like, yeah, you make me sick. My teeth are falling out looking at you guys.
I didn't think we were that bad.
Yeah, so these are ceramic wooden shoes, I guess, is what those must be. But anyway, I can't thank Yosei and Asha enough. So but I'll keep trying somehow.
Yes.
One more time, if you happen to be watching on Periscope, what I want you to do is leave a comment just so I can see what happens if you do. We could have put Periscope on. Do you have Periscope on your phone?
No. Yeah, I haven't done Periscope in a really long time.
I don't even know what would happen if I launched Periscope with my own account, if I could even look at it. And I have got a couple of Periscope accounts too, and I don't even know which one this is broadcasting on. Bob Doyle, maybe? I have no idea.
I don't know. I'm just going through it because I actually wasn't really looking at all the comments. I'm sorry, you guys. But wearing a scarf on the plane is a great idea. I wish I had thought of that. I had my hat, so when I was laying down, I kind of put that over my eyes to sleep, or tried to sleep. That's the other thing, too. You're trying to sleep on a plane, and, even when you have those pillows, it's like your head, I don't know. It doesn't quite work. And so I was all in this contortion position, like trying to sleep on him with my head. Like, it was not okay.
It really wasn't. And we flew in two different legs, and when I fly in economy, I really have a limited amount of time that I can do it. And look, guys, this isn't an ego thing. It's not. Just don't. I'm not being elitist. And it's also like the length of my legs too. I can't.
Sitting there, his knee is literally like jammed into the back, and it's not like he can make his legs shorter, right?
I've tried.
Yeah, I'm short, so it doesn't really bother me.
Yeah, so I'm all just twisty and stuff like that. And if you sit like that for a while, so it takes a while to recover from the plane thing. And I can't sleep in moving vehicles. That's why I've been awake as long as I have. I mean, I think I may have snoozed out a little bit. I did finally
did
see The
snooze a
Last
little
Jedi
bit.
last night, though, on the plane.
Yeah, we watched movies. That was kind of nice. I think we get a chance to do that.
But really not that many movies. We could have sat there and...
Sue, Carol,
All right, hold on. Let me just take a breath. I've been talking
Lincoln,
nonstop.
Angelo. Oh my goodness. Oh, such lovely people.
That's the one thing about the watch party. Are they leaving comments on yours?
Some of them. That's why I was just like, I'm sorry, I wasn't really paying much attention, but I'm not. I wasn't asking for comments either. Michelle commented.
Oh, I know what
Nova commented. Crystal, just little bits here and there. Yes,
Our
please
Crystal?
comment it. Yeah, our Crystal.
Crystal!
Hello,
Come on, pop onto the
Crystal.
mainstream and say hello to everybody. I now remember what the 3 hours before is.
Okay.
So they tell you when you fly around, wherever you fly, they tell you if you're flying international, oh, you need to be at the airport 3 hours before your flight.
Uh-huh.
That is such a freaking waste of life. To believe that. Because we left the hotel at 2:30 in the morning.
A.M. After being up and out for the event until 10. It was
So it was that whole if I
Yeah.
I couldn't go to sleep. That would have been a terrible mistake because it
I
was just
slept for
too
an
much.
hour.
Yeah, she did, but there was enough time in there. Like if I had gone to sleep and then wake up to try to rally, then go out the hotel and all that. So anyway, whole idea is 3 hours before. So, and of course our hosts who were arranging our ride and all that stuff, they're going to send us there 3 hours before because they're not going to take a risk that
yeah, you know.
But we get
Because
to the
it seems
airport.
Smart.
We get to the airport, and of course, there's nobody freaking there.
No one at any of the counters. Not one human being
No,
behind
right.
60 counters.
Because it's 3 o'clock in the morning.
I mean, there was nobody to ask questions to. There was literally no one except
Just
for
people,
a small handful of people also
sleeping on the
laying
floor.
on the ground and because they were also in the very beginning of the airport. There's no place to sit. It's all check-in counters.
That's
and,
right.
You know,
There's
the
literally
wait lines
not a chair.
There's no.
Yeah.
I have a picture. Did I post it?
I don't know if you posted it, but there is a picture. We took a picture. Folks,
Laying on the ground.
this is great Bob Doyle from The Secret stuff. Bob Doyle from The Secret laying down in the Frankfurt airport.
No, that was Manchester Airport.
Manchester Airport, right.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, it was funny. We have a lot of pictures. A lot of pictures.
Yeah.
All right, everybody's being very quiet. This hasn't changed for a while, so until you guys start talking, I'm going to put this back up there. Because
Oh, wait, I can't see because your phone's in the way partially.
Mhm.
It's typical Dutch.
So the other thing about the
Oh,
hotel
that
is
must be yeah. These typical Dutch.
when we it's the Bob and Tracy show. So if you're listening in your left ear for Tracy and your right ear for
My mommy says hi.
Mom, while you're
Hi,
watching,
Mommy.
you're watching on the watch party.
Well,
That's the one thing
I
about
forgot
this
to
whole
tell
thing
you.
is that the watch party comments don't show up here. So that is kind of the bummer about the watch party.
Yeah, so I'm trying to monitor.
But we are at least spreading the love through the watch party magic, folks. We got a comment. Tell us more. Look, I got a whole list.
Tell us more about what.
I
I'm
can
so
easily
tired, I
fill
don't
this
remember what we were
hour.
saying. What were we saying?
I was talking about 3 hours before. Getting there 3
Oh.
hours before. And so of course we're just sitting around and we did not need to do that, and I'm not going to do that. Like if it's a early morning flight like that, I'm never again doing 3 hours before. We could have gotten there
At 3.
well we could have gotten there an hour before and been fine.
Well, that's also true.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the other thing about that airport, right? That was the Manchester airport where we were laying on the floor and stuff.
Right.
It looked like somebody had built this airport yesterday with things they found around their home. And then you walk through the magical gate once you get your ticket, and now you're in the most lush mall.
Oh my goodness, like really high-end names, and you're walking through
They make you, of
the
course,
stores, right?
long-time travelers
So
know they make you do that.
it is, everything's brand new, totally beautiful, but tons and tons of shopping, which of course is kind of interesting because then you have to take this stuff on the plane with you, which you've already got some kind of restriction on carry-ons or something. So, you're going to buy a sweat jacket or a piece of luggage or shoes. These are things you have to take on the plane with you. It's
Yeah.
not like you're going home, in your car.
Right.
And the other thing too, it's like alcohol and all of that, it's duty free. Well, you still have to now take it, carry it on the plane. And if you're going through customs, you got to claim all this. I mean, it seems not
So
okay
everyone,
to me.
the point is, everyone
my
just
opinion
stay
thing.
home. Let's just stop traveling.
No, but why shop? Why have, I mean, I get the whole, like, mass people, lots of good sales opportunities for the retailers,
That's
but
the only thing. That's it. That's the only
the
answer.
logistics, it seems interesting to me to have, big items for sale, clothing items. I
Yeah,
don't
right. I
know.
mean, things that you would have to be prepared. Like you got to pack to know you're going to go shopping at the airport. We got some
Yes,
comments coming in. We got Kelly. Let's rewrite the positive. I'm ready. Okay, Kelly.
nice.
Let's talk. We're talking rewriting. All right. So where was I? 3 hours before. Okay,
Rewriting.
we're not doing that. Talking about this.
Souvenirs London.
Okay. All right. We did.
We are talking about
Yes.
shopping
Since we're
anyway.
there talking, so we went. I have a friend, Rob, who has actually been a guest on this show in the past, so you know Rob. Who he has a request of all of his friends who travel internationally that for them to
Print out words.
bring back a refrigerator magnet from their destination. I'm on board. That's cool. So I've brought him things from all over the world from my travels before, and so we were specifically in Manchester, but we're in the Manchester airport looking for souvenirs. But 90% of their souvenirs are London.
Right. Which makes no sense at all because it's like being in Las Vegas airport and everything for the souvenirs is
Would be
Los Angeles.
Hollywood. Right?
Right? It's like I'm not anywhere near London. I'm like 3.5, 4 hours away from London. Why in the Manchester airport is there nothing but London stuff?
I mean, they did have Manchester stuff, but it was like a very small section. I mean,
Barely.
you know,
Barely.
that's it. That's the only
And
Manchester thing.
the other thing too is, so I have a friend who Corinne requests shot glasses. She has an entire collection, just like, Rob does with the magnets. And I found zero, none, not a one. And we were at the hotel the entire trip, so we had no chance to go, shopping outside or even really see Manchester.
We
Quite
really
honestly,
didn't. We saw like one city block from
yeah,
our hotel to a pizza place we ate at,
which was 2 blocks away, so we really saw nothing.
and it was nighttime.
Both times we were in the car.
So it was really, and even driving to the airport, we could see the architecture. We could say, yeah, this is a beautiful place that we're not seeing.
Right.
But
Yes.
but that we just didn't build in that kind of time for this particular trip.
Yeah.
We learned a lot of interesting lessons
Yeah, it was fun.
about this trip, about and then how we'll do future trips as a result of all of this. So let's see. Now we're just
Yes.
randomly. Can we jump back on the plane?
Did you bring anything duty free? I didn't know.
No.
The only thing I bought, and again, it's being conscious of how much space I have in my carry-on and all of that. The stuff that I brought home for the kids and all was the smallest stuff that I could find that I thought that they would like. And little is great. When you're at the airport, little souvenirs are lovely, but I don't know.
But I don't know.
Big things.
But
just
you
make no
know.
sense. I need sleep.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
Um,
If he had $1 for every time I said I don't know.
oh, I'd have a lot of money.
Uh-huh.
Coffee being another thing. So here, another thing about just going to a hotel. If you're a coffee drinker, which I mean, and I don't mean a person who will sometimes drink coffee, but someone who, like me,
Completely
who
addicted.
loves coffee and wants the coffee to taste good. Right? I was the same way about beer and wine. It's like why would you drink something that's yucky if you know that good is available? But in-room coffee is notoriously bad, as we know. Now, unless they have, I'll tell you the places that I like. Any hotel that has those sort of Nespresso type pods, those taste good because they really, I mean, that's just good coffee. But the stuff where you got the bag with the filter and you put it in there and you put the, the hotel tap water over it, and then they have the powdered creamer.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
It's the worst. And I will say that in this
when he needs it the most.
right. Yeah, because exactly. If I'm in a hotel room, that generally means I'm working. Right? I'm somewhere to do some work, and I want to wake up and I want to get started well. And so first of all, that you have the extortion breakfast that they can deliver to your
$13 for an orange juice.
Yeah, 20 any good any decent, and this is almost everywhere.
Orange juice.
Any decent breakfast you're going to get delivered to your room, and which means like 2 eggs, a meat, and some toast, and like maybe some sliced strawberries. and some coffee is going to cost you $22.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like $4 worth of ingredients. But anyway, I digress. The coffee. This last, in the hotel that we were in Manchester, it was actually instant coffee.
Yeah. He was not happy with that.
I didn't drink it. I had a sip, and then that was it. But when we got in there, they had a nice gift for us. They had a bottle of wine, which I don't drink, but I brought it home anyway because, you know, you never know. Let me put it this way. Oh, forget it. I'm not going down that road. Anyway, we brought that. But they also had out a plate of chocolates.
Oh, I took a photo. So beautiful.
Oh, you do have a photo of that.
Yeah, not
So
easily available right this second.
and so we took one bite each of one of the pieces because I took a bite and was like, oh my God, this is so good. But it was late, right? We got there.
What time do we?
It
Well,
seems
we
like
got there at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and then we had to quick
Oh, we had to
change,
go. That's right.
and then we had to go because the start of the the event was at 6:30. There was a get together that night in a little room, so meet and greet kind of thing.
Point is,
And
we only had time to take one bite of chocolate.
one bite. That's all we had.
But it was really good. And then meanwhile, there were two other ones of different styles, different flavors in there. And we're just going, oh my God, these will be so good.
Oh my gosh. All right, keep talking.
So the next morning, of course, we get up there. Of course, they're still there because there's no chocolate stealing elves. Or so we thought.
Right?
We come back from the break later that day, when they had made the bed and all that stuff. And they took our chocolates.
So upset. So very upset.
They left the wine, but they took.
They left everything, but they took, and I think it was because we took one bite of chocolate, so they thought,
They must hate chocolate.
No, it was because we had
wild
no
supposition.
chance to try it. We were so tired.
Yeah,
When we
and
got back to the room, I wasn't gonna, douse a whole bunch of sugar before laying down.
And Tracey tried to do a Jedi mind trick on the housekeeping person the last time. She was like, we had chocolates here, and somebody seemed to have taken them, and like hinting like, how about you replace these because your staff took them.
And I was not successful.
There was a language barrier or something, and we did not get our chocolates.
No, we did not.
But I know it sounds like we're trashing the hotel. We're not.
No, it was a lovely hotel. It was really beautiful. I mean, yeah.
You walk in, there's this beautiful Christmas tree, which you'll see if you look at some of the pictures.
Wait, so I can show. Here's the chocolates.
Oh, good. How about that? Here we go.
Wait, can y'all see?
Yeah,
See?
so this chocolate, this one right here is the one we took the bite out of, and it was delish. And these two, we were waiting on them. There's the wine. See, now they know we're not liars.
Because they were thinking that.
Okay, yeah, they're just making this up for story. This is all showbiz hype, smoke and mirrors. Nope, that's actual.
Yeah, I mean, it was really, it was so, the whole experience was beautiful, but then they took the yummies away.
It was interesting. We walked in the room and we were cold or hot. Which one were we? Anyway, we needed the temperature to change in the room. And the thermostat, and there was a fan. There was a fan on the stand in there. I'm like, oh my God, does that mean they don't have air in here?
Lovely room, see?
Oh, look. Oh, that's me on the phone.
Yes,
that's me in the corner. Look, that's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight.
Calling because the room was, I do believe, cold.
Okay, was that actually me calling about the temperature? And you happen to have that picture handy?
I do. There's the bathroom. Yeah, I'm weird.
Anyway, it said, so we didn't, first of all, we didn't, you found the thermostat. Mm-hmm. But it said, fault wants service. And so no buttons we pushed.
Worked.
We finished each other's
sentences.
So we finally called maintenance, or room service, not room service, the front desk. I'm losing my ability to speak. Good thing we only got 7 more minutes.
Was that really?
To say, hey, the in-room's not working, the air's not working. So they sent a guy up. I wish you had a picture of the thermostat.
I should have taken one of those. I did not.
But the thing is, so we pushed every button there was to push on that thing to try to get it to work.
Yeah.
So he comes in, and along the button control panel, along the top, is the name of the device, whatever it is, or the brand of thermostat. I don't even know what it is. And then he pushed the letter I in one of these words.
Yeah.
And it reset the thing and turned on.
There's no way
anyone would
ever know that.
So that was weird. But by the end of our stay, it would only stay on for about, it was definitely broken.
It needed service. So, I don't know if it's in the States kind of thing, but if it says faulty service, it means that it's not working and it needs some technical love. Somebody needs to come and do some maintenance. There, he was like, oh no, it's just off.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it.
Right?
It's just broken.
But then it's just broken. It kept turning off. And so it would, get really cold all of a sudden, and we'd look at each other and go, oh. And then we hit the imaginary button that, he showed us was there, that you would have no idea. It's not okay. It's just not
That could
okay.
also be the name of your show.
It's not okay. Okay, maybe that's it. I like that.
So I'm looking at the list. If there's anything else. Oh, okay. I'm going to jump back on the plane again.
Okay.
When you know how a lot of the planes have the screens, everybody can see their in-flight entertainment. To me, it's so distracting.
Oh yeah.
Because your eyes get drawn to this movie or that movie. You can't hear the sound, right? But you're looking at this movie and this movie and this movie. The movies, like 90% of the movies that are in our periphery, are people kicking the crap out of each other.
Yeah,
like
the
John
movie
Wick 3 and I don't know, some of these.
Okay.
I mean, just all you see is people's bodies just flying everywhere. Guns blazing.
Lots of Star Wars and, actually Guardians of the Galaxy, where it is one of
that one I've never seen, but I want
it.
to see because I saw it in my periphery or whatever. But I mean, it's just like so intense, and it gets in my head, like it bothers me. I just wish that there was a way that. Oh, you got the lobby.
Yeah, Midland Hotel. It has the most beautiful. Okay, can we see you all? There we go. That's better. Okay.
It doesn't focus in, but that Christmas tree was lovely.
I'll post.
Yeah. Okay, the other thing, so we got all these meals, right? Lunchtime, and they really had. I never left the room to see the food available. It was always brought to me by my lovely here, and she would do the best she could to decide.
And I had to take pictures at the buffet, but I don't have to.
She would do the best to try to figure out what would Bob like to eat, right? And so she brought me these things, and a lot of them, because when you fly to other places, sometimes you see foods you don't recognize. And so I had the opportunity to be surprised by food flavors a lot. Has this ever happened to you? Like when something looks like it's going to taste a certain way, and then you put it in your mouth, and it in no way is that. There was one thing in particular that I will probably never forget for the rest of my life because it traumatized my tongue. Was this? It looked like it could have been like a sweet potato souffle or something like that.
Right.
It looked like, oh, this will be good. So I confidently put it in my mouth.
I think it was supposed to be shepherd's pie or something.
Oh, that would explain it.
Was that it?
I don't know. But anyway, the point is like that was the one thing. Most of the time when that happened, I would just politely finish chewing and swallow it. And
what were those meatball things?
Haggis was one of the surprises. Because they had these little fried balls, and one was fish, which was good, but then there was this other one, and Tracey didn't know, so she thought it was some kind of meat or whatever, and so that was my first introduction to haggis, and my last, ladies and gentlemen. But this sweet potato looking thing, I don't know to this day, and maybe we'll never know what it was, but I can tell you that I immediately spit it right back out, spit it out onto my spoon. Now I wasn't like I didn't do this on stage.
Thankfully.
I was actually getting ready for the Bob Doyle show, so I was over in the corner,
hiding,
just stressing out. That was the one.
Technical issues. Oh.
Well, the fact again, just to bring it around to what because we're up at the top of the show.
Wicked gross.
The doing the Bob Doyle show live in front of an audience was such like I could talk about that for a while, but I think that's too much about me. But to have a real audience, nothing against you guys. But a real audience and actual laughter, that was probably the most surreal part, was hearing like laughter that I didn't push a button for.
Yes.
That's pretty crazy.
If anyone's joined in yet, we got the crowd joining. You guys are freaking awesome. These are people who are in the room right now. You see their comments on the screen. And the reason that I'm broadcasting live here is because
so you can see.
It's my favorite thing to do ever. And I also am talking about live streaming to this incredible group of entrepreneurs, and I'm showing them the extreme version of live streaming. This morning we were talking about how simple it can be by turning on your phone and hitting go, and now...
All right, anyway, so yeah, I got to do that. That was a lot of fun too, but I don't remember the point. I don't remember the point, which is good because we're out of time.
You were, yes.
Can you believe it? An hour has flown by, and all we've done is tell stories.
It was fun.
Which is great.
Yes.
So I'm going to make a concerted effort.
Yes.
I'm going to make a concerted effort next week to get the folks from... Oh, Lana said it was shepherd pie. Thank you, Lana, for telling us. So she was obviously there. So, huh? Okay. So next week, I'm going to see if I can't get some of these folks who are at the Vision Summit to be a part of this, or at least we'll rally and bring the troops in, and we'll make sure that they're watching the show live, because I didn't really give anybody any advance warning, except that I did say it was every Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific time. That's the Bob Doyle Show, ladies and gentlemen, as evidenced by the people singing in the background and the dancers in the background as well. It's nap time!
All right, love you guys.